and gentlemen.
Good evening.
And what a glorious evening it is. God bless. I am Father Edward McCartney Forbes. I was the rector of Christ Episcopal Church right over there for 40 years, including the years of the Civil War, which some of my parishioners like to refer to as the War of Northern Aggression. Can I get an amen on that?
Amen.
Amen is Episcopalian for amen. And I'd like to tell you a bit about my role in the Battle of Elizabeth City. You see behind me the beautiful Pasquotank River. I'm sure many of you have enjoyed sailing or skiing on the river, or just watching the moon rise and throw its path of gold or silver across the water. But on February 10th, 1862, this was the site of an important naval engagement. You see, the waterways of the Albemarle were crucial to both the North and the South. Whoever controlled the rivers and the sounds of the Albemarle controlled transportation and commerce throughout the whole region. Well, now, I mentioned the Battle of Elizabeth City. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but it wasn't much of a battle. Guns were set up at Cobb Point, just down the river a bit, at the site of the recent Arts of the Albemarle's design event. The guns were set up to support the naval forces. You see, the Confederate Navy in this region was known as the Mosquito Fleet, mainly because it consisted of only 6 vessels, converted barges and tugboats. It was hoped that what the Mosquito Fleet lacked in size, it would make up for with spunk and bravery. Unfortunately, this time, spunk and bravery were not enough. The Union Navy destroyed the Mosquito Fleet in half an hour. Gunboats quickly sank the CSS Seabird. The Black Warrior and the Fanny were run aground and burned. The Ellis was boarded and captured after hand-to-hand combat. And the Beaufort escaped to Norfolk. The Appomattox, well, if you go to the Episcopal Cemetery, you will meet the crew of the Appomattox and hear their story. Now, in case you're wondering what happened to the men who were at Cobb's Point, I'll tell you. To quote the official record, they turned tail and run. Reminds me of Mark Twain's comment about his experience in the Civil War. He said, I could have learned soldiering if I'd waited. I'd learned part of it already. I knew more about retreating than the man who invented retreating. Well, after the battle was over, I put on my vestments and came down here to the waterfront to try to broker terms of surrender. I was badly frightened. I hardly knew what to expect. I hoped that the Yankees would respect my position as a man of God. I met with a Union commander named Rowan, who, the Yankees are coming, who, for whatever reason, maybe he feared God, maybe he just felt sorry for this wee bit of a lame priest, but he agreed not to burn the city or harm any of the inhabitants. Well, now, to tell you the truth, by this time there were not many inhabitants left. You see, word had reached Elizabeth City that morning that Union gunboats were on the way. Furthermore, the Battle of Roanoke Island had been fought just the day before, and the sounds of the battle, like the sounds of those guns, could be heard here in Elizabeth City. Well, as you might expect, everyone panicked. Many people fled. The roads leading to New Begun, now known as Weeksville, were crowded with wagons piled high with people's belongings. Those who could afford to do so moved or fled farther inland. Now, among those left in Elizabeth City were some rebel sympathizers who did not want the city to be used as a base by the Yankees. Now, to prevent that, they asked Colonel Henningson to set fire to the city as his regiment was retreating. The Pasquotank County Courthouse was burned, along with 2 blocks of the downtown area. Many homes were destroyed, including that of the Unionist Dr. W.G. Poole. Now, it is not known for sure who actually started the fire. Here's an interesting footnote, though. The Union commander, Rowan, offered to come ashore and help fight the fire as a sign of goodwill. As I said, the Pasquotank County Courthouse was burned, but the records were saved in an heroic effort by a townsman named Arthur Jones. The records were stored in an abandoned barn until the end of the war. And you can see those records to this day in the new county courthouse, built in 1882 on the site of the old courthouse. Now, let's go back to the day of the battle, February 10th, 1862. At day's beginning, Elizabeth City was a thriving, picturesque port town. At day's end, it was a smoldering, deserted landscape. It would be many decades before it regained its former glory. At midnight on February 10th, fires could still be seen burning in the downtown area. And those fires ushered in the darkest days Elizabeth City would ever know. They got the joke. Now you've heard my story. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and may your God go with you.